So unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that the Chase Sapphire Reserve just got a major update, that being namely its annual fee going from $550 a year to $795 a year, and it also picking up the coupon booking method that Amex has in the last few years. Now honestly, I have to say that this is the reason why I haven't been making a lot of credit card videos, is just because I can't stand some of this stuff, and I would never make a video about something I wouldn't do myself or that I don't think that it would be good to recommend, and so it doesn't make sense. But today I just want to break it down very simply, the 3 key benefits that still exist and are new that I think make it worth it to keep the card, or the reason why I'm going to keep the card, that you can basically get a TLDR of what the benefits list that they put out for you guys. So for those of you that already have the card, you would have gotten this email, that being your new Sapphire Reserve, and it says the scroll is worth it, promise yet, it's not. Okay, there's a long list of stuff and most of it you're never going to use as a regular person. Now, the comprehensive list, I've kind of broken down in this Excel spreadsheet. I'll probably link this in the description box below so you can get, again, just a basic summary of what it is or the changes. The first table here is your earn structure. So a lot of the earning structure has changed, the 3X is gone, stuff like that. And your benefits here, some of which are new, but I've highlighted the 3 that I think are critical and we're actually going to talk about in this video because they still make the card somewhat worth it, and you can offset the $800 worth of an annual fee. I think these 3 credits, without doing anything out of the ordinary, as a pretty average person or a target consumer of this card, you would be able to utilize if you travel or go out at all. So like I said, this is the website showing all the benefits. I used to make comprehensive videos about all the benefits of a card, but really I don't think there's much point doing that because there are not many benefits on this list that, again, if you are an average consumer, you're actually going to use. And so just in the interest of keeping it real with you guys, the first benefit that I want to talk about really quick is the existing Chase travel credit that you still get with the new update. Okay, so what this is, if you scroll down on your Ultimate Rewards homepage, you'll see this $300 annual travel credit. This is still the most flexible travel credit, even more so than the Venture X travel credit that you get. This is an easy way to offset $300 of that new $800 annual fee. So now we're at $500. I probably don't have to explain how this works, but you can literally spend this $300 on any type of travel. That is still the case, whether it's bus tickets, train tickets, parking, obviously airfare, hotel, stuff like that. You can do this on the Chase portal, or if you just swipe your Chase card at any hotel, or if you buy tickets to the airport, if that's something you do. That one is very straightforward because it already exists, and it's a good thing that they kept it, because otherwise I'd definitely cancel the card or downgrade to the CSP. Now, for the second benefit that I think is actually useful, this is a new one. This is gonna be your Chase Sapphire exclusive tables, okay? So if you go back to this list of benefits here, it's kind of a long list of stuff. You can see here there's dining, okay? Whatever the dining multiplier is, that's great, but you get $300 annually in statement credits, which is unfortunately broken up into 6-month periods. Okay, so the first 6 months of the year, you get $150, and the second half of the year, you get another $150. Now, if you go here to the Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables and you click on that, you'll get the list of participating restaurants. I do have to say, if you don't live in a major city in the US, this may not be as useful to you. Right now I live in the Austin area, so fortunately there's a pretty decent list, but I did a quick search and most of the restaurants are fairly pricey. Now that being said, if you go to the OpenTable website, which obviously they have a partnership with Sapphire, or with Chase rather, to make this happen, what you would actually want to do in order to utilize this benefit every 6 months to maximize your $300 a year, once you've attached your Chase card to this, you can then basically search within this platform for an OpenTable, and you'll see they have availability at different restaurants. Like I like Italian, so maybe I'll do like Sammy's Italian, something like that. And then you can make a reservation, and to my understanding, the way this credit works is that basically any charge that you have on your card for this particular reservation, you have to make it through this OpenTable Chase partnership thing. Then you can basically dine out. I think this is fairly reasonable because if you dine out at all, which if you don't eat out at all, that you're not a customer for this card, frankly. But if you do, just like if you would travel at all, because this is a travel credit card, then you would be able to make the most of this, especially if you're dining out at any of these restaurants anyway. Then you get $150. You can get a nice dinner for you and a friend, you and whoever, or more than that, because $150 for some of these places is a lot of money. So I think that's the second good benefit that you can actually take advantage of. So that's now you're at $300 plus the $300 of travel credit. So that brings us to $600. So you have $200 left of the annual fee you still have to make up for, if you're just counting kind of by the credits or benefits that you need to use during a given year. This third one, like I said, is going to be your the edit credit, okay? This one is a little bit more complicated, and I really don't like the fact that they have to split this up throughout the year, because if you obviously stayed at a hotel once during the year, then you could utilize this much more easily. But the edit is basically what you can think about if you have an Amex product as the Fine Hotels and Resorts program with American Express. Again, this is a copycat industry, so everybody needs to keep up with each other. And I think this is honestly just Chase's way of trying to compete with Amex in that regard and also make a little bit more money. So if you go to Chase Travel, which you'll see here, I've already searched for like a 2-night stay. That's a minimum that you have to do for this credit. I guess I should show you guys really quick on this. If you go to travel, obviously they're touting this as one of the ones that are kind of new that you need to use, and it could be good depending on if you can find a sweet spot in terms of a stay. Again, Fine Hotels and Resorts adjacent, so the edit collection is going to be essentially expensive, kind of fancy hotels you could stay at in most major cities. So you'll see that you have these options here for DC. Most of them are pretty expensive, like $500, but there's some that are a little less than 300, some 263, 225. Like, these are still the edit, because that's kind of the little tag there shows you that that's one that you could earn the credit for. So then what you would want to do is maybe book, if you think this is a decent hotel, book this stay, and then for $250 twice a year, having to stay 2 nights each time. For this particular stay, if it was 2 nights, it'd be $392 total minus $250. It would only be, what, $142? So that's not so bad. That, I think, is a decent way to offset that credit. I'll say that this one, the third one, is a little bit harder to use than these other two, just because you have to stay 2 nights and you have to actually be going somewhere that you want to stay in a hotel at a fancier hotel. But I think that still is fairly reasonable as long as you can use even just half of that credit during the year. You're at $250, so 300 plus 300 plus 250. You're then at, well, more than the annual fee of $800 because it's $850 in credits used if you just do that. Now, for somebody like me, the last thing I'll say is that there are tons of other benefits that I don't have on this list. This is strictly the earn structure on the top table, and then your credits on the bottom. I'm not even gonna get into the Dash Pass, DoorDash kind of nonsense with $5 credit for a restaurant and then $5 for takeout. Like, you're never gonna be able to, like, I will never use that. That's silly to me. $5 doesn't even cover the tip for door dashing something. Lyft is fine, yeah. StubHub, like maybe if I use that, and then Apple TV, I don't use that. Like Music Plus, I use Spotify. So again, those are the main 3. The other ones, like I can clear $100 worth of food at a Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge, which is another benefit that you don't see on here that you would be able to use with the card. So obviously there are other things that I'm not accounting for, but just from a simply quantitative standpoint, if you can maximize kind of the 3 things that we talked about, that being the travel credit, the dining credit, and then this new hotel credit in some way or fashion, at least half of the hotel credit, then you're at least getting more than the $800 fee in a given year. Hopefully those 3 kind of benefits that we talked about are useful. That kind of a basic TLDR for you guys. I'll link in the description box the Excel spreadsheet so you guys can see that. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. If you don't think the card's worth it anymore, also let me know. And maybe it'll change my mind about keeping the Sapphire Reserve. I probably will, so I can keep making these videos for you guys. But hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.